is buffer time? What is buffer time? Is what buffer time?
Okay, well, I guess we're going live now. That wasn't meant to happen. Let's. I bet we can kill 10 minutes with something. We definitely have some news here to get to anyway before we get into the stream. Hello, everybody. This is going to be an extra long stream for no apparently good reason. I did not mean to click in. I'll even wait for. We should have some other people coming. We'll do introductions then.
I mean, at least nobody's here.
There's a few things. Yeah, Dell's been having some issues. Hopefully we get these straightened out here too in the next 10 minutes. But so there's some stuff swirling around Paramount. So it looks very much like Paramount is probably going to straight up acquire Warner Brothers. Not final yet, but it's like 98% of the way there. It looks like they're going to be the ones in. And then today there's this weird thing talks about, and I'm still not clear on, they're talking about like at least merging the packages of like HBO Plus or Max or whatever the hell they are these days with Paramount.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure if that means there's going to be some kind of merger between the companies or if it's just there's going to be like a package bundling deal there.
Okay, well, the way they made it sound, and again, it wasn't very definitive, so I don't think they know, because this was just a call with the Paramount investors or something like that, is that they're going to merge them into one streaming bundle thing. I think similar to how Disney's getting rid of Hulu eventually. But they're still allowing HBO creatives to have autonomy with their own stuff. At least for the time being. That's probably not going to be forever because nobody gives you free pass forever, but guess it waits to be seen.
Hi, Vanessa. Hello. We're live unexpectedly, so we're just everybody's still trickling in. You're all good. Take your time.
This is called vamping.
The year was 900 BC.
Oh, keep going with that, Doc.
A man named Gene Roddenberry had a vision.
And I had an onion tied to my belt, which was style at the time.
Yeah, was there another news item you were going to get to, or?
No, I know. Like you had kind of speculated about if like some of this goes through, that would mean that maybe comics might go back to DC.
Oh yeah,
from IDW.
I don't know how accurate that would be, but yeah, because Warner Brothers, Discovery, and DC are all like a connected property, the same way that Marvel and Disney are a connected property. Theoretically, if all of these things come together, then the Star Trek license could revert to DC Comics if they wanted to. Now, that's not necessarily going to be the case because some comics related to Disney are farmed out to other publishers like Boom or Dynamite, but Star Wars is under Marvel, so I guess it depends on how they feel about the job the current place is doing and whether or not they want to try and farm more money or not.
That's true. I mean, it's not that I don't think that IDW does a good job. I generally really like them and some of the other comics they do. But also, like, out where I live in, like, the podunk middle of nowhere, the few places that carry comics do not touch IDW.
Yeah, I get mine because they know I like Star Trek. I don't think they really bring in 50 copies, just probably like one or two, so... But the other thing I was saying is potentially some of the scuttlebutt out there is Doctor Who is also going to return to HBO as their new home after Disney runs out. So that might actually mean for the first time Star Trek and Doctor Who outside of the UK are under the same banner.
Yeah, that'd be interesting if we finally could finally get all of that show in one place. I might finally watch it.
Well, that's unlikely because I don't know if Disney's going to want to give up a hold of their 2 seasons. Depends on how they want to play ball.
So that's going to be something.
Remember when there was 7 channels?
Yeah, we hear you. I know you can't hear us, Vanessa. We hear you. Just relog. You'll probably be fine.
Yes, I distinctly remember having a TV with a channel knob that only went up to 13.
Well, I had to do the channel knob because my dad's like, just go change the channel. Like, all right.
Yep.
Oh, there were 3 of us, so we would play rock, paper, scissors as to who would get up to go change the channel. And we had cable, and what that was a big brown box that you had to press clacky keys to get to all the different channels.
See, my first one was a sliding like a little slider on the top of a box that slid in between channels.
Thankfully, my first one had
physical analog stuff. Remember? I remember.
I had the 4 networks and PBS. That's all I had growing up.
Oh, well, I figured at least, kind of where you are, you might have gotten like some UHF stuff out of like or something or whatever. But
got some stuff if you threw enough tinfoil on the antenna.
We had tinfoil on our antenna when I was young. It was the only way I could watch Sesame Street.
Oh yeah. Now the only way is to where are they now? Are they Apple or something like that?
That's a good question because they were on HBO, and then like after 6 months they were playing stuff on PBS, but there's no more PBS. Good question. Yeah, was there some other news that I should know this week?
For Strange New Worlds.
Oh, there you go. Then it's maybe Academy too, because they keep talking about this beaker. So I'm hoping that's a cameo we get later on. Yeah. I don't think there's any other definitive news.
We'll know it's time to start when Norman shows up.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll probably show up here after 9 because we're not even supposed to be podcasting right now.
I mean, there's the article interview with Mary Wiseman, but that sort of ties into the show a little bit.
I watched an interview with Michelle Hurd about how they want to be doing Star Trek, what are they calling it? Legacy.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
There just hasn't been an agreement yet.
Yeah,
I think still a lot of that's...
It's not going to happen. If it does, it's definitely not going to be with Terry Metalis, which I have very mixed feelings about. Like, oh my God, I could fill our like extra time now with the fact that I've watched 3 of 4 seasons of 12 Monkeys, which was like his hit fame thing before he did Picard seasons 2 and 3 as a showrunner. And like where season 2 I liked, season 3 I didn't like at all, and like 12 Monkeys is like every episode is a 10 out of 10 must watch sci-fi show.
Wow.
Cannot recommend it enough.
Well, then you shouldn't. He had really no input on season 2 for the most part. So the one
it was already written and going by the time they were like, hey, you're gonna show run this. Like, oh, okay.
I think the only thing he's
doing is it Magic the Gathering or
he's doing Vision for Marvel and he's doing the Magic the Gathering at Netflix.
Yeah, so he's a little busy, so I don't think he'll be back. And I know that was basically
what service
like his
is 12 Monkeys on?
I'm watching it on Amazon. It may be on other stuff too. It's like originally a show from Sci-Fi channel. Right up there with like Battlestar, with as far as things that Sci-Fi Network has done over the years. Like, holy crap! I cannot wait to see the final season. And I just got to like James Callis, like Balthazar from and Picard's dad. Like so many. That's the other thing. Like, people had told me that season 2 and a little bit in season 3 are like basically a callback to 12 Monkeys because almost everybody is there. And that's largely true.
Oh.
All right. Hello, Ren.
Hello.
Ren.
We're live if you didn't realize.
We're live in 10 minutes.
We hit live by accident. That was the thing we did. So we're here and we've just been kind of BSing about Paramount and other
We're all doing a
sci-fi.
Oh my
tight
God.
5-minute stand-up routine, so it's
They're gonna ruin HBO. I'm so mad.
Yeah.
I hate that everything's becoming a monopoly and it's all about to be like one big freaking company owned by a like ultra conservative dude. Sweet.
we're gonna get
that's my favorite.
the reverse
Perhaps
of when
Taco
everything was
Bell
on
will
Netflix.
win the franchise wars.
I've thought about that more recently. Like, oh my God, Demolition Man is coming true. You got your seashells? Does everybody have enough seashells? I hope you have them stocked up.
I mostly collect rocks. I'm in trouble.
I have a few
Might
sand
be.
dollars. Will they help?
I have
yes,
thoughts.
they could.
Hello, Norman.
I have a conch shell. I figured it out.
All right. Well, we've gotten past the 9 o'clock part. Let's introduce ourselves before we go too much further. I'm Dustin.
I'm Scott, of opinions no one cares about, just an old drama club geek.
I'm Ren from Ren Rants, also a former theater kid.
Hi, I'm the stage manager because I actually played the stage manager in our town back when there was no internet, literally.
Time to have been alive.
So I'm going to reprise my role today as the stage manager.
And I'm Josh from Wind Grace Project on the YouTube.
The YouTubes.
The only one.
Tube.
Oh, just one of the
Tube.
tubes.
Just one of them, yes.
And maybe we also have
Hello, friend.
Vanessa,
Hello, my
just
Hello.
introducing.
apologies for technical difficulties. My name is Vanessa, and I host a YouTube channel called I Love Bad Star Trek.
You sure do. And we're here talking about some would say great Star Trek, some would say not great Star Trek, and a lot of other people would say it's somewhere in the middle. Well, let's get to that. Let's get to some questions. Let's go back to the last question we asked last week, because one of the first scenes we see is like Darum getting into a fight with a random kid. Is Darum still an asshole, essentially?
Sometimes.
I don't think he knows how to shed it
yeah,
yet.
you like it?
He's improving. He's on a slow upward trajectory. There's bound to be some setbacks.
Because he does kind of a herky-jerky evolve, devolve kind of thing. Because, he just reaffirmed his, desire to be in Starfleet, and then he does things to jeopardize it, like picking fights. Like, I honestly think that he should be the one on house arrest versus, even though the guy Caleb bit that guy's ear off, he's like overall less of a dick.
Yeah.
I think he just takes comfort in the warm familiarity of asshole. He just likes going back there on occasion.
I don't know. I mean, it seemed like he was a totally different person at home. I think I mentioned this at some point. It's kind of like he's doing the whole trope where like you move to a new school and you decide you're going to reinvent yourself completely.
Yeah, it's like he's workshopping a new personality.
Yeah, but this one isn't quite working. He's going to have to do something different to stay at the academy.
Keeps making little tweaks. I think he is essentially like a good person who really cares about his friends, but I think he's also like still like both trying to figure out who he is independent of all of the like bullshit from his family, while also like he wants people to like him, and I think he still thinks people like cocky annoying guy for whatever reason.
Because I think if you would sign up for Starfleet, you would maybe, look into like what kind of characteristics make for a successful officer. Even though, yes, they're young and everything, it's like, why are you there? Why are you there if like you fought for this? you divorced your best friend for this. What are you doing there?
It's a great question, Norman. Like, we need to see Pickford getting kicked out, and we haven't seen her since she was escorted from the bridge during this same trauma.
Mm-hmm.
But we're
She
not
should have
going
been
to
in the
because she's
play.
the Venari Royal spy.
Yeah. I agree with that theory. I'm suspicious of her.
I don't
If she's
know.
not, you definitely use that therapy.
I don't know if she would have benefited, arguably, I don't think anybody did, but I don't think she would have benefited from this drama therapy, because her issue was not unwillingness to process emotions. It was,
I just have a lot of
like,
feelings.
lack of
Shell shock,
capability, really, or not shell shock, but like just doesn't have the orientation to be successful at it. Like,
She just
I don't,
immediately cracks under pressure every time.
yeah, it's like it's not even like something that they could mold into a successful person. It's like, no, she's just not, this isn't her thing, and that's okay. Like, I would like to see that conversation, like, is she on probation? Is there like some kind of, a mentorship program or something where they could, do something about like maybe putting her in a different track?
Maybe a
Mhm.
desk
You know?
job for a starbase
Yeah.
in the future.
Yeah, but it's like, why would you go to Starfleet Academy for it then?
Well, I think
Yeah.
all of the officers for any of the posts are now going to either the War College or Starfleet Academy, so that makes sense to me. I do think it's interesting that they like I guess don't seem to have like tracks planned out for people that aren't suitable for like starship life. Because obviously, like, not everyone in the Federation is on a starship. You've got your people on the star bases, on Earth headquarters,
Right.
research
Well,
bases, all of that stuff. Like, I could see her doing fine on like a research base somewhere, as long as she's not one of
Right.
the ones that gets vaporized periodically.
You don't need to go to Starfleet Academy in order to do an admin desk job, though. Like,
Oh,
that could
I guess
be
what I
somebody.
just said did not.
Yeah. Because, like, in the government, you could apply and have no government experience. You would just have a lower clearance. So it's probably something like that where they would just like,
Yeah, they do have like non-Starfleet civilians posted places doing things
Mhm.
sometimes. So I could see something like that. But I also think it's fine for her to be like a Starfleet officer that's just not cut out for starship life. But I wish that that was like something that was like acknowledged or discussed more. And maybe it will be. We're still early days in this series, but
Well, we're almost done with the first season, so
Yeah.
I feel like they're going to give us an answer on her by the end of this season. But,
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
I certainly
know.
hope so.
Yeah.
I'm guessing next week is probably going to set us up for a two-parter. It looks like Caleb's going to find out something about his mom, is what I've heard, and that's I assume that means it's going to bring back in New Spraka, which should, in theory, transition into the final episode. But I don't know.
I
We will
fully
see.
expect Mom to be evil.
Yes.
Or like reluctantly evil.
Yeah, I think she's going to end up being in on it.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Del, what was your question before you get like kicked off again or something?
It wasn't
what
a
were
question,
you-
it was a statement.
Yeah,
I think in a
okay.
way Pickford also stands in for the viewer in a way that we're all afraid that if we take a giant leap, we're just going to fuck it up. And I think she is the manifestation of that. And she will either evolve or devolve. Story-wise, I'd rather see her get drummed out. But
Yep.
knowing
Agreed.
what this show has done in its recent past, I could also see her becoming the solution to the end of the universe. So I don't know where it's going, but I can see that she stands in for I'm taking a big swing and I'm gonna fuck it up.
The only way to solve this problem is we need somebody to eat 42 comm badges.
Ugh,
I
get to
guess.
eating.
But
The comm badge eating contest, if you will.
The more version of,
a
Fluffy
combat
Bunny.
eating
Or
competition
Chubby Bunny.
between the academy and the war
And the War
college.
College.
And
we
now
only
we got
know
the leg
one
up.
person left in the War College, right? Just
Yeah.
Romulan
Just
girl.
Kyle.
Oh yeah,
Norman,
Kyle. Yeah.
Norman Barkley comment
one.
actually brings up an interesting
Kyle.
point, which is, like Barkley might have, like, people keep bringing up Barkley when it comes to people falling a little short, but let's keep
They're
it a
two
buck
very
here.
different people.
Like, incredibly, because
Very
Barkley was, he had his fanfic / fic, whatever, he had his frolic and dalliances in the holodeck and social anxiety and perhaps on the spectrum, which is not really a strike against him, just an observation, but like he was probably one of the best, if not the best engineer on Enterprise and Voyager's Savior. So it's
To the
like
nth degree.
yeah.
Ba-dum,
So self-doubting perhaps, but never somebody that you could never rely on. And yes, he bought the Three Musketeer thing is so freaking corny. Like, you have every piece of literature ever created up until that point, and that's what you go for with Riker. Like, there's so many more unflattering ways to paint Riker and ways to best him that aren't so corny. I don't know.
They could put Riker in the middle of
Clearly
Twilight.
the source of his power.
At
Yeah.
the same time, if we saw Barkley in his very first year at the Academy, I do wonder
Right.
how much more of a menace he would have been at that
Right.
time.
But
Because,
like, but he would still be, because I don't think he went into the academy knowing nothing about engineering and coming out knowing everything. What I'm saying is there is even as a cadet first year, people are guided towards the things that they are passionate about, the things that light a fire in them. It's like going to art school. It's like there's already a discipline that they have in mind or some like idea of what they're good at, with both Terima, frankly, and the comm badge swallowing lady. It's like, what are you even doing here? Like, what are you good at?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really get to see anything of Pickford except for her freaking out on the bridge and accidentally swallowing her comm badge, allegedly.
We had that
So-
one classroom scene where she was.
I mean, she had to
indignant.
pass the
Well, she was
exam to get
mean
in.
to Sam.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's true.
Like,
Yeah.
fuck her.
Yeah,
she
she was mean
has
to Sam.
sealed her
That's
own
valid.
fate. She has pissed me off to no end.
Yeah, Pickford
she
sucks.
needs to
That's fair.
go.
She sucks. That's fair.
What if we jump ahead another 1,000 years and there's just a USS Pickford J?
Oh my god. And okay, I'm gonna move on for a bunch of reasons.
And then somebody reconnects with Pickford and tries to find out where they went after they died, and it's a whole thing. Are they in the
Pickford
Celestial
is the
Temple?
So
Not
here's
after being mean to Sam.
question that needs some clarification. If this is the first class of the new Starfleet Academy, how can Tilly be in charge of third years?
Well,
In
we
my
saw-
I think the
first-
third years are the cadets that she was working with in Discovery.
Sure,
well-
but at the beginning of this season, we were told that this was the renewal of Academy. This is the first time it's come back in like more than a century.
Well, I guess
But I
she's
think
probably
they
teaching the
were
War
still
College,
dislocation
right?
on though.
cadets.
And then that was my first thought is like, okay, well, so she's part of the War College. Then why is she in and maybe she just got it for this assignment, but then why is she in an academy instructor's uniform and not a War College instructor
So
uniform?
here's what I'm wondering, because I think I feel it's been ages since I've watched that part of Discovery, so I don't really remember now. But I feel like the cadets she was teaching weren't explicitly War College cadets, and they were based on like the Starfleet.
No, they just
headquarters.
said it was academy. She was
Yeah.
told like, oh yeah,
So,
these
in
kids
that
from the
case,
academy.
Maybe there were, because in this episode they talked about how if Terima stayed at the War College, there are no like science specialties or anything.
Mhm.
And so if there are like science specialties and stuff, there still has to be that in Starfleet even during like wartime, right? So presumably there's got to be some kind of academy mobile setup that maybe was in place. I do wish they explained it more because that was kind of confusing.
The only thing I can come up with is that there's been an informal academy up till this point.
Yeah.
Where they had kids going through courses and with some instructors, but it wasn't like a formal firm place and like.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got, where like, because they still need like the science cadets from somewhere, right? They still need medical and all of that.
Yeah.
And if that's not happening at the War College, that had to be happening somewhere. But I do wish they could have like, I don't know, given us a little bit of that info when they were giving us that little summary in the first episode about like the burn and everything. They could have like talked about the academy closing down and like the War College starting and all of that in like, I don't know, another 30 seconds or something.
Yeah, there's a lot that's still like where did the War College come from? What are its roots? Why is it still a thing if we're opening academy again? There's questions.
They're saying it's not a Discovery sequel, but it is a Discovery sequel, and this is like such a bullshit explanation for like why these two worlds don't rock together or don't fit 100%, because they could have easily written this to have Tilly's teaching track from the episode that she left to now connect, and they're just giving this bullshit answer like, oh, it's not a Discovery sequel. Then what? Then okay, let's just disregard the burn. Then let's disregard, like why are we even talking about DS9 then? Like why are we talking about anything from before? Like it's a slippery slope if you disregard Tilly's origins, because that's like the easiest thing to connect to Academy. It's like a no-brainer.
I wonder if it's a similar thing with Section 31 happened, where like they had an idea and then reworked it 32 times before they got to actually airing it. So now it doesn't fit the original hole it came out of. So
I think that's probably what happened. That makes the most sense to me. Because like I do like the War College as a concept. I think it's kind of a fun way to show how the Federation was different and then how the like ideals are conflicting now. So like I'm fine with that. I just wish it like was better explained, and I wish like the like what Tilly's whole deal was a little better explained. It's odd.
What do you guys think about the explanation of why she's not at the academy teaching?
That's fine. They needed an excuse for her not to be there. Yes. I hope that means they're planning to have her more next season. Because they said she's on rotation, which implies that she'll be off rotation at some point.
So she's a sub. She quit Discovery, the thing that she was like most passionate about, this thing that she consulted with a nun about, this thing where she was so conflicted for episode after episode. I think
she just like rotates into different teaching positions.
She's like full time. She's like headmaster of like this group.
I think she found her home. Like she started this whole her whole journey being like she's on the captain's track, and then she was given a taste of the captain's chair and realized this is not.
And then she fucked that up in such a preventable way. Like she fucked that up. She didn't just like, oh, I don't want to be a captain. No, she fucked up. She ruined. She like got captured, like within an hour. So it's like, I don't want to be captain anymore because I suck at it. So I'm going to be a teacher, and then I'm going to kill a kid on my first teaching gig.
Well, she didn't kill a kid. It was another instructor, but
she is killy, so give her some slack.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So it's like, it's just interesting how it's like, I did just as bad at teaching as I did captaining, but I'm going to teach. I just find that interesting.
I can't remember if the cadet dying was actually her fault at all, though. I kind of think it wasn't. I think it just was a thing that happened, and she had to like help the other cadets through it, but I can't remember.
Yeah, she decided that like even though Adele, I think it's Adele. Adira, thank you. Adira was, even though they were the most experienced pilot in the ship objectively, that Tilly was going to have somebody else fly that's what crashed the shuttle, and that's why that kid died.
Well,
have to
again,
take
it
your
wasn't a
word for it. I
kid.
don't remember
It was another instructor. It was her and another instructor, and the other instructor died early in the episode. I don't think any of the
thought it
cadets
was one of the
died.
cadets, and she had like guilt
I'm
about it.
almost
But I
certain. Well, I mean, you still have
I don't remember.
guilt about somebody dying on your watch, but yeah, I'm just saying
Yes,
it
there
wasn't
is
a cadet.
Adele and Adira, two different people.
And then there's Doll,
True.
RL.
And then there's a doll from the Lower Decks episode where the Keishan got turned into one.
Okay, no, it was a cadet. I had to Google it because I just could not remember for the life of me.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't watched that episode since it came out. So
No, me neither.
Then where did the cadet? Because like I know as a fact, I thought the first time I saw it, it was a cadet, and then when I rewatched, it's like, oh no, it was a lieutenant. It was somebody else. But did a cadet also die along the way that I missed?
It
Am I
might
not
have been
remembering?
both a cadet and an instructor. I can't.
Either way, like I am sure that like another instructor.
Someone
died. Either way,
the show
yeah.
isn't a sequel to Discovery, so who knows if that happened?
Ooh.
We're in a split timeline of a
Yes.
split timeline, which is lovely.
So let's kind of completely shift gears here. What did you think about the cinematography in this episode? Specifically the choices of like black and white at times and almost kind of going along with the theme of like working along a play. There was a lot of what I would call theatrical stage lighting going on more than like practical cinematic lighting.
I liked it. I liked the black and white. It kind of reminded me of in the show Chaos, how all of the scenes that were in the underworld were in black and white. God, I'll never forgive them for canceling that show. It was so good. But I think it kind of like sort of shows how different the perception of the Caskians is from like the Starfleet crew. And I think it works for like the emotion and the drama of those scenes. And yeah, I really liked it. I also like how we got that like representation of Cask. Really reminds me of the different representations we got of the Q continuum.
It also reminded me, about like a cross between the Q continuum and like Prophet Time or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, I didn't think about them. That does make a lot of sense.
I thought the black and white was a choice alluding to the line that the Doctor says, where he says that memory is nostalgia is what gives memory color.
And so that's
because
great.
Because then we did see it when she grew up. There was color, so
exactly. So it was a story writing decision, and as far as like how effective it was, I also it felt very. It kind of felt, ironically, it kind of felt like the black and white was more of a memory than the memories, if that makes sense, because like it was in black and white. It felt more like a dream state. Like a sort of suspended animation where it's like everybody's moving kind of slow and it's got like a high diffuse filter on it. And then when the memories come on, they're like almost oversaturated, which is interesting.
That is true, because the scenes with color also seemed somewhat muted to me in retrospect.
Either way, they had me crying like a little tiny baby,
like
repeatedly.
A little tiny baby?
Like this little tiny baby. So much crying. I've wanted a follow-up to Real Life or some kind of acknowledgement of it for like 25 years.
I really, really liked the final one with like Ake and then just the one overhead light. It reminded me so much of Voyager's The Thaw. And like the end of Fear. It's like,
Oh, that's a great episode.
Drat. Hello, Mr. Captain, my captain.
I would like to know if anybody here or in the chat has seen Our Town or is familiar with that play.
Dell is.
Or
Yeah, unfortunately, like Dell, I think is the only one that was going to be here that's like even been in the play as the stage manager, and is having some technical issues. I'm gonna save those questions in case Dell can get back on with us. But he had like a whole bunch of stuff here, and I know I can't answer it, and I'm guessing none of the rest of you can. Not something that's in my repertoire of
all I know is like I have a theater nerd pal, and she said that Our Town is not a popular play. Like it's seen as in theater circles a subpar play. So it's an interesting decision to reference something that's disliked so widely.
I did not hear it from a theater friend, but in discussions in like the Facebook groups, I heard the opposite, where people are like, this play is a masterpiece. But I have been meaning to sit down and like read a synopsis of it, because it seemed like a really interesting addition.
All right, if I could just start with the Our Town stuff. I was in Our Town in high school, and we studied it very closely. And I want to kind of map the direction that Our Town takes that I think this episode also takes. So I'm going to be a little bit of a theater nerd for a moment. In Act 1, we get to recognize what life really is. It's very mundane. It's why a lot of people think the play is boring, is because it is trying to illustrate what the everyday is. Because Emily comes back from death, and her one message is, you don't know you're living life until you're dead, because you don't notice the beauty and the mundanity of it all. And so I think part of that was the idea of the classroom and Tilly being the stage manager, who does play a very distinct role in Our Town by nudging the characters to do the things that they were written to do. This idea of an observer who's like, all right, you got to talk to that guy. Just trust me, talk to that guy. And then the second act is about choosing connection, even though you know it's going to end in hurt and pain. And I think that is why they referenced the family, is because the doctor had to look at the last time that he felt very emotionally connected to a child. What happened with the children he had on the planet that aged him too fast or whatever, we don't know. But this was the devastating blow, that he is now looking at Sam and going, if I engage again, I know this is going to end in pain. And I don't want to do that, but I think I'm the only one that can. And then the third act is about coming back and actually being able to perceive how beautiful morning coffee. See a neighbor, you see. If you really look at it from that structure, the episode kind of starts to coalesce in a way.
In a way where the lag comes to get
I agree with what he's saying.
Those fucking chronotons, man, they will wreck your day, I'm telling you.
We can't appreciate the stream until we've had issues. That's what I'm taking away.
Sorry, man, we kind of lost the whole third act.
It's like Picard all over again.
Yeah, the chronotons were hitting harder on Picard.
I think we're here. Go ahead, Del. Continue.
Where did I leave off?
Third act.
It's a great question.
Oh, okay. So the third act is about taking the lesson of Emily, about noticing the beauty of morning coffee, of the neighbor that always checks his mail in his underwear, the sort of the very little things that we tend to just let stream by us, and take a moment of mindfulness and enjoy these little moments. Enjoy, and then also to dare to create those connections, because those connections are also the beauty of mundanity. The idea that, you meet a girl on the street and then you become friends and then maybe you fuck. But like, it's all those incremental steps along the way. And I think that's why, well, Tilly obviously being the stage manager, because in our town, the stage manager nudges the characters so they have the conversations they need to have at the times they need to have them. And I think that's why she got a little pushy at points, because Tilly doesn't do a very good job of it. But it's about the idea that she's not trying to make the Betazoid, whose name is completely escaping me, like pour her trauma to the class and have to deal with it out in the open. She just needs her to say, I have trauma, but life is better now. But I think Terima is not yet at the point of life is better now. And I think that's why forcing her into the Emily role was maybe a bit too soon. But Tilly's the ever glowing optimist, so I think she thought, okay, I'll just push her to make her happy. But Emily never really, because she never really gets to connect again. She can send messages. She can talk to people in the graveyard who then tell other people about those incidents. But it's not like she can just walk into town and ring a bell and go, hey, life is happening. Fucking notice it. So that's how I feel like a lot of the interwoven plots of this episode map on our town. The idea of getting back to basics after trauma.
Cool. Thank you. That explanation really helps understand the episode quite a lot. Most of your questions, though, I think are good that you sent on Discord are going to kind of fall on deaf ears because none of us have seen the play, unfortunately.
I'm gonna jump because this is so glitchy. I'm glad I just got my moment to preach, and I'll be in the chat.
Okay. Thank you, Dal. You're awesome, dude.
With that context, I do. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I do really love that Sam picked this play because it makes perfect sense that she would appreciate the beauty in the mundane more than the average person would, since to her, all of it is new and all of it is exciting. I really like that.
It just seems crazy insensitive to be like, you're going to be the dead bitch to Terima after she nearly died and woke up from a coma.
Well, she was also going to be fair.
No, she didn't. She wasn't assigned to that. It was Sam was assigned to that, and Sam, when she left, told Terima that she should be the one to take the role. So that came from Sam.
And that makes sense because they were both connecting over their trauma and how they were struggling to move on. Like when Sam talked about how it's always with her, even when she's trying to laugh, and Terima clearly kind of feels seen for the first time in a long time.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of beautiful. It didn't bother me.
This whole thing is therapy. It's such a flawed premise, but I don't want to go on a tangent about that. But
well, I've definitely got a question about that. So
tangent time.
Actually, maybe I don't. So I encourage you to go on a tangent.
I mean, you can't.
I was just saying,
we already did cosines.
Okay, so I have taken quite a few theater classes in my time from middle school because my dad was like, you gotta learn to be normal, and somehow he assumed that theater class was the way to do it. Right? So his fault. This is all his fault. Anyway, so all the way through college, and not a single time did we ever sit there and read a script from tip to tail and go, what do you think the character's thinking? That's not theater class at all. Like, you wouldn't do that. What we did was a lot of like improv and stuff. You wouldn't just like punch people in the face with like really difficult emotions right off the bat. You would like loosen them up a little bit, get them kind of goofy, get them to connect on something other than just, you know, transferring past trauma onto a play and then working out that. Because then, as Tarima so eagerly correctly points out, like, we're just trauma dumping. Like, this isn't really like about anything else other than that. Like, I'm not learning anything. They're not learning about styles of theater. They're not learning about acting. They're not learning no Stanislavski, nothing. It's just like, we're just delving into character motivations. That's not a theater class at all, period. Okay. So there's that. And then like, Tilly's not a psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, nothing. She is just poking and prodding at people with no qualifications to do any of that. So it's like, you are going to have somebody that has just come fresh out of a coma, enroll them into Starfleet Academy against they have no idea. They just woke up and found out they're in Starfleet all of a sudden, and it's Aki doing, and then Aki's going to talk to you in front of everybody about how, the changes or whatever in front of everyone, and then enroll you against your will to go into a theater class to do therapy. Like, you can be ordered to do therapy, or maybe she should just take a break. Like, she'd been through some shit. Like, what are we doing?
Well,
This is
she
not.
was gone for like a month. And then I think
she was in a
therapy and
coma.
it just wasn't working. I think they
She
either
was in
had
a
She wasn't
coma.
in a coma that whole time either.
Yeah.
Though,
She
because,
was in a-
Caleb had
yeah.
said, even
she was awake.
yeah.
Right. But like, just because it isn't working doesn't mean that if therapy doesn't work, we're going to enroll her in Starfleet and then stick her in a theater class. That's the plan.
I agree. The transfer from the War College to the Academy, the explanation holds up kind of thin. I
was
fully
weird.
agree with that. It's just like, she's part of Academy.
They don't have
because
scientists in the War College. You can't be there
if my
anymore.
kid was being poked and prodded about their vulnerabilities and trauma in a class they never signed up for, they wouldn't be in that school anymore.
I would consider the outcome. I mean, it seems like Tarima. I'll tell you, like, I haven't really liked Tarima this season. I absolutely hated Tarima in this episode, and we'll get to that a little bit more later. But I have this big hope that now, at the end of this, it seems like she finally came to her turning point. It's like, okay, well, I can work with this, and I can be better. So my wife, who is a school psychologist, said to me, I talked to her about some of like what you had said about it, and how she had she used to feel the same way. Like, if you're not a clinical professional, you have no business being in this. But then, like, the reality sets in, and you start to see that, like, sometimes, like, a good teacher or somebody that really has been through some shit too, if they're the one that can reach that kid and change it, then it's the outcome that matters.
While, like, even as therapists doesn't necessarily have Tarima's experience, Tarima went through something that I don't think Tilly has any conceptualization of how to connect about. So she, like, feels empowered to just confront her in front of her other classmates during a class that she's being graded on. That is fucking so unethical.
I don't know, because it's like a shared trauma that they all experienced, right? Like, they all experienced different facets of it. Well, a bunch of them watched Avi die right in front of them.
No.
Tarima's trauma.
All their trauma.
I'm talking about Tarima's mental connection with Caleb and the explosion that resulted from her psychic, spasm or whatever.
Her trauma about that is that she feels like a freak.
Yeah.
And
so
why
does Tilly feel qualified to talk about this within a theater class?
Well, I don't know. Tilly, I think, used to feel like a freak too, and Tilly also had a whole
That's
bunch of
not
guilt
the
about the
same.
student that died on her watch. So, like,
Not even close to
yeah,
the same
honestly,
thing, though.
I
disagree. I
personally
think what
that
I
is
think everything
unbearable.
Tilly's seen qualifies
I think
her.
they've
Absolutely.
and like
truly.
she abandoned, she
No.
left
I mean, how are you
everything
gonna
she's
find a
ever known
perfect man?
behind and traveled 900 years into the future, and she really struggled
You
with
know,
that in the first few
I've
episodes.
I've
I'm
been
not
through a
bothered by
lot,
it.
but that doesn't qualify me to be a therapist.
Well, she's not a therapist. They were literally the
Exactly.
whole point of her being there is therapy isn't working. The kids are
Yeah.
either not doing it or it's not working for them. We
It
need a way
doesn't-
to
it-
help them unpack this that is not therapy. It to me, it's the same
Right.
as like when your kid has like aggression, they need
So
to get out, and so you enroll them in like Taekwondo to get the aggression out, right?
right.
Activities
So there's
can be a
that.
useful way for people to process emotions,
Sure.
and I think
but
using
that's
theater for
not
that makes sense because you get to
but
process
that's
it through
not
the
the
mask
kind of
the character
emotions that
isn't
Dream is
you.
dealing with. There's more than just a death and a rock and rolling on a ship, you
Sure,
know?
and I don't think they were like, yes, Tarima's cured now after the end of this either. I
Yeah.
think it was literally just helping her open up so that she can actually start talking about it and process it.
Right. She turned
And
a
I thought
corner.
that
She's not
Tilly
better.
did a
She
good
just
job with that in terms of like
Yeah.
giving them a mechanism to open up with that still allows them to like distance themselves from the trauma.
Culver. The name is Culver, Dell. Culver is the name of a city. Culver City.
But yeah, we know who Dell's talking about
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
That would make
but
sense,
yeah.
though. He has been dead.
I mean, that was the same question with Culber, though. It's
There
like,
you go.
did he have the qualifications? I mean, for all we know, he had psychiatric qualifications. He just chose to practice more medicine for a while. We
Yeah.
never got an answer there. I see what you're saying about Tilly, but it's also really ultimately about the outcome in the end. And especially when it comes to a bunch of kids like going into a quasi-military organization like Starfleet. Tilly, I think, was absolutely, and this was another question, I guess we can kind of move more into this. Was Tilly right to stand up to Tarima and force her to answer and face her feelings? And I think she absolutely was. Because Tarima was at the point where clearly she was about to wash out of her own accord. And either she needed to be forced to like, hey, realize the stuff that you went through is stuff that you're gonna go through probably again in Starfleet. If you can't handle it, this is not for you.
No. That's not why she's in there. She's in there they didn't say a word about the death. They didn't say a word about it. The entire thing was about her psychic spasm.
Well, no,
And
it was
by
that's
the
what
way,
it was for everybody.
trauma from the
Everybody had
experience.
different
It was for all of them
experiences
and
there.
all of
Right,
their trauma from the
but
experience. And like they
Clearly,
talk about
Tarima
why.
was being singled out. And by the way, Kurtzman Trek has a real problem with like people having mental issues beyond just being sad for a day. Like we have the burn caused by somebody having mental emotional issues. We have in Picard, Picard's mother, and several other people with emotional issues that go beyond the pale, and they're seen as like, dangerous. And I just find this habit to be really problematic. Like, because they look at Tarima even though she's got, her Frankenstein neck knob up to 11, she is essentially a ticking time bomb, right?
I mean,
Yes.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that necessarily. She made a very deliberate choice in that case to remove her inhibitor because she was in a situation where she was the only one who could save their lives. As long as she wears her inhibitor and doesn't do that again, I don't think it's like necessarily guaranteed to happen. It sounds like it hasn't happened since she was a kid and like deafened her dad, which I hated that. We all
So
know
like why not just like have her channel her thing versus like trying to tamp it down?
I'm
Why
sure
not?
she will at some point. I bet that's going to be like her season 2
exactly.
journey is someone's going to, basically she's going to meet another powerful Beta Z or another or Betazoid or another powerful something that like, mentors her the way like Tuvok did for Tess. Like that's what I think.
I was about to say she's going to meet Cass, but I don't think we're actually getting a Jen Leo Badge show ever again.
To answer your question, though, I think it's probably the most inappropriate interaction that I've seen with a professor on this show. I think it was one of the worst things that I've seen a professor do. I wonder why Tilly feels that she's in the right, crossing a line and demanding somebody face their feelings. That is not her role. That is not her role as a professor.
I mean, it kind of was in this. She was put into this role. She knew that this wasn't just her teaching theater.
If it was
she knew
like
it was about her getting these kids to open up.
Between getting confronted by a teacher about my feelings and washing out of the academy, bye. Like that's not.
And I agree with you. Maybe she should have washed out. I mean, trust me, I don't like Terima very much. I don't care if she washes out or not. But I am glad that Tilly was able to intervene, and she was the one that, like, yeah, she had to be a little stern with her, but yeah, she got the desired outcome in the end. These kids are all like, now they're on the path to like, okay, we can work through this, rather than just like going around it and going in circles for months that they have.
Can't even do it together.
So let's move on to something a little less morbid. So here's a thing I noticed in my second watch through this week. Let's see if I can find the right pictures. So with Terima now coming into the academy, there might have been some background characters wearing these, but this is the first main character we've seen that doesn't wear pants, but is wearing a one piece as opposed to the like skirt and jacket that we've seen most other people that don't wear pants wear.
I was wondering if
the question is this the new scant?
It does look scant adjacent. I kind of wish it had the short sleeves. I feel like it adds to the vibe.
Either that or they're just trying to riff on the Troy always wearing a not uniform.
Do we know what type of alien he is?
Caleb?
Or like the person in the background? Is that who we're talking about?
Oh,
no, we're
talking
talking
right here.
I'm
also looking at, I've got another picture that's got her and Genesis, so you can kind of see the two different things. Where's that picture?
You're right. Does the person in the background have the jacket, or is the person in the background the same as Terima?
I think that's a skirt and jacket because it's not as like close fitting.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh God, where is this other picture? I know I've got a picture that shows both here, and I cannot find it.
Caleb is such a triangle man. Amazing they make uniforms for shoulders that broad.
I don't know if they're doing this on purpose, but I almost can't tell Caleb and Garam apart anymore, just character-wise.
The difference between the possible scant.
Yeah.
Oh, but a scant would be short. I'm only realizing this now too, though. That a scant is always short sleeves. This is a full-length sleeve.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like the short sleeves add to the vibe of the scant.
I think that's more appropriate for like San Francisco weather. It's a little brisker.
Yeah, that's
there.
I do find it interesting too that like coming from like the 80s where it was all bare legs and now like everybody's wearing leggings.
No dancer's legs to be shown off here.
Yeah, I do appreciate Jaden in the skirt and jacket. I don't think he'd quite look good in this. But I don't know. I mean, like, that dude can rock everything.
He can. He's
pretty much
fabulous.
holding the entire show up.
I'm always
looking forward
how
to
different he looks without the makeup. Like, he is a gorgeous man, but completely unrecognizable. The transformation's incredible.
I'm looking forward to seeing like if and how in the 32nd century, if people's individual cultures can be integrated into the uniform, or if they're still got the stick up their ass about things like, the Bajoran earring or whatever.
I think there was a hijabi cadet that someone saw in the background a few times that they were really excited about.
Yeah, there was one in this episode. I know.
Were the Bajorans wearing their earrings in Bajoran Club? I can't remember.
I think at least one of them was.
Yes. But not everybody in that club was Bajoran.
Like even we saw the Rock Talk character was not even wearing a uniform.
Honestly, it's kind of ridiculous that they made Caleb cut off all of his hair, but Sam's allowed to do like
There it
golden
is.
bubble braids. Double standards.
Oh, okay, cool. So the hijab wearing person is also wearing pants.
They look great.
If Jaden can wear skirts and the Muslim person
love
can
it.
wear pants,
Is the
fuck yeah.
hijabi person higher ranking because they have the gold stripe on the side?
I think that just means they're in the security or
Got it.
engineering track.
I wonder. Oh, I guess the black stripes for the undecideds.
I think that's true.
Modern Bajoran earrings.
All right, with about 10 minutes left to go, let's circle back to Terima because I have to tell you, I have not been a fan of this character to begin with. I have high hopes for her going forward. I love her by the end of this episode, but even through this episode, like, my God, she was really kind of insufferable. Was it a bit much to have the 2 back-to-back drunk scenes with her and Caleb, and then we went right to her and Genesis? There was nothing in between.
Yeah, I think it would have been nice to have a scene in between there. Also, like, I don't know. On one hand, a drunk crashing out scene does make sense for a lot of young adults who are like in college. I definitely got drunk and crashed out a few times. But I felt like Sam's drunken crash out was way more effectively executed than Terima's was. And I feel like I want to like Terima more than I actually like Terima. And like, I just still don't care about her romance with Caleb at all. And that took up a lot of air in this episode because, of course, that's like her whole main deal. And I just don't really care much about Terima. But by the end of the episode, she had been somewhat rehabilitated, and I hope she's less of a bummer going forward.
Yep, that's where I'm at.
But I think your statement there about the back-to-back scenes, like, that was one of my issues with this episode, is the pacing and the placement of things didn't flow until we got to the stuff with the doctor and Sam at the end. That all flowed well, but getting up to that point was kind of a bit of a slog, and there should have intercut it with something or split it. I'm not sure how to do it better.
I liked it, but the pacing was definitely still just like weird. I feel like it was like fine, weird, good.
I feel like, you know, on top of the ethically questionable decision to just enroll somebody against, you know, without their decision being factored in, and, you know, enrolling them in a class without their knowledge or against their will, you know, now we're watching them drink, and it's like, it just felt like a lot of airtime given to someone, and like, it's like, it was just like a means of catharsis. We're just going to give this person all the air, all the oxygen to, you know, do their crash out and, you know, face their emotions and all that. And it just felt very like rushed. I just feel like the drinking and the thing with Caleb, and it just all felt like, God, do we really need to portray this person as so this emotionally frail? Like, I know that they went through shit, but I just feel like being a Betazoid, wouldn't they have their shit a little bit more together? I don't know. Like, it just felt
We've seen a lot of Betazoids, and they're really no different than humans.
They do be
Right.
Some of them have
crying.
their shit together,
I
and some of
know,
them
but
do
I would
not.
just think like there's some modicum of tools available to, you know, handle distress to this degree. And like, again, they're calling it an empathic incident.
Yeah, that was a little annoying. I wish they just admit they're
So
telepaths,
funny.
but I guess they don't want to write around it, so they're
Well,
just...
I mean, if you really want to get into the like fantasy specifics, that was psionic abilities, but
Right.
anyway.
But yeah, it just felt pacing wise, I the transition from that scene to the next, it kind of made sense plot wise, only because she's drunk in the thing in the garden area, and then now she's drunk passing out. It's not a separate drunk incident, it's the same night.
Sure.
So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that entire storyline could have been cut and we could have just seen Sam become a whole person. Honestly,
like I have such mixed feelings about it, because I think my problem is they focused too much on Tarima. I don't think I'd have had an issue including her, but they made it feel like she's the only one who was like really, really traumatized by that entire experience. Caleb watched someone die for him to protect him, and his trauma is basically like not acknowledged or unpacked literally at all.
I mean, it is from the very beginning about like, that's why I asked, like, is he an asshole? Because we see him just like getting into a fight for no good goddamn reason.
Caleb or Darum?
Oh no, you're right. I'm thinking Darum.
Because like Darum talks a little bit about his like wedding trauma, but he wasn't aboard the Miyazaki, so he didn't like witness Bobby die in front of him or like experience that peril. But like, I don't know. I just feel like maybe it would have worked better if we got to explore more of everyone else's trauma. Like I would have actually liked to see some more from Occam.
You're right.
He really experienced a lot of trauma, like watching that happen to his sister, watching his friends be in danger, not being able to do anything about it. Like
500%.
He must have felt so helpless, and we don't unpack that at all. It's just kind of all about Tarima. I do like Tarima and Genesis becoming friends. I think that was like really cute and a really nice character moment for Genesis, showing that she's kind of a girl's girl, and I liked that about her. But like I just feel like we spent so much time on Tarima that like we hardly got to spend any time with anyone else.
Yeah,
and for me,
and Genesis went through it too, it's like, and they're all in their own way, and all of them are holding Tarima up. That's another reason of the many that her being in that class was inappropriate. It's like all of the resources, emotional support go to Tarima, leaving the other kids behind.
Well, she was just the one that pushed back the hardest. So Tilly like pushed back on her pushback more. I think was more than anything. She was the loudest, the squeakiest wheel got the grease.
To Dell's question, or to Dell's theory about the psionic being a telepathic evolution, they never talk about telepathy. They only frame it as empathy. Ever.
Yeah, that's really weird.
They never talk about telepathy. It is the most bizarre retcon. I have no idea why they do that. It's a thorn in my side.
I think they just don't want to write around telepaths. That's why they made Troy only half Betazoid and have Luoxana only show up sometimes. But then it's like, then just don't use the Betazoids. Just don't use them.
But they're still giving them telepathic powers.
Yeah. They give them
she was like saying quotes
so
from Caleb's brain in the first episode, or the first episode she was in. Like that's clearly like not just empathy, that's telepathic. It's weird. That's weird.
All right. With a few minutes left,
Scott?
He froze really hard. He's in the chat though.
Everyone's glitching today. It's glitch day.
With only a few minutes left, before we do our out of 10s, Norman brought up something that like basically is a segue to the very last question I have anyway. Does the source of what makes the Doctor a dick make any fucking sense? Because this is the thing that I'm like, I assumed when he was like kind of a dick and like, oh, I can't be a mentor to anybody in the beginning. I figured it was like, oh, well, he's made so many friends over 800 years and lost them, and it's just traumatic for him. But no. We go back to an episode that I have never tried. Like, starts great with the 50s Leave It to Beaver thing, and then ends with the death of a child for no good goddamn reason.
Devastating.
And then have him go through 6 more seasons of Voyager and a season of Prodigy, and we never see any hint that this is a problem for him. And now all of a sudden, 800 years later, geez, man, I can't do anything because of that kid that I had for 5 fucking minutes. I hate it. I hate it so much.
I actually
I'm on
liked
the other
it.
side.
I'm sorry.
I'm with Ren.
I think it was. I think it shows us how much that loss actually did impact him, because like we only saw him have that family for 5 minutes, but as far as we know, he was visiting that holodeck family for weeks or months. Because like when Kes asks him about it, she's like, "Oh, how's the family, doctor?" Which sounds like it's a thing he's been doing for a while. Then
But he's
Balana
been
like
featured
reprograms
before
them.
this
And that
hasn't
seemed
had
like
that
he was
issue.
visiting them for, several to many days over that period, I think is what was supposed to be implied. Because he keeps going back in and then being asked about it and then going back to the family and then talking about it and like unpacking it. And I think for me, it makes sense because like he said, his memories don't fade, right? Like he's a hologram. It's all recorded in like perfect memory. It feels like it could have happened to him yesterday. And then on top of that, he has all of these losses compounded over hundreds of years at this point. So he lost his daughter. He's lost all of the Voyager crew. He's lost all of the Prodigy crew. He's lost basically everyone he's ever known, and then, has to rebuild new connections over this whole period of his life. And I understand why there gets to be a point where you start to want to just insulate yourself and keep everyone at arm's length so you don't have to risk hurting like that anymore. And yeah, I mean, we know he never went back to the program because he was so traumatized by it. So I think, to me at least, the idea of that loss echoing over hundreds of years and coming back all the way this far down the line, to me, that's really sad. I ugly cried. That like broke my heart.
Mm-hmm. That's basically the same reason I liked it, as opposed to someone like Picard, who had 80 years to finally talk about his mother. The thing with
the question becomes, why are you a professor? Why are you a professor if you don't want to mentor anybody? Why
you
are
don't need
you?
You don't need to be a close relationship with somebody
No,
to
but
teach them or to instruct
he's
them.
a little beyond like, I just want to keep my private life and my professional life separate. He's a little clearly beyond that. Like, I'm not going to make it like to not even try to build rapport with students.
Well,
I think
rapport is
really
different. She was running up to him like out of the blue, like, "Oh my god, be my daddy, please, please, please."
Right.
Be my mentor. And he was like,
right.
No. Versus like, I also think that he's probably like very in denial about the fact that he totally was kind of mentoring Sam and he totally was like connecting with the students, because he was clearly emotionally like destroyed when she was unsafe. And he thought he was going to be like terminated. So I think it's one of those things where that's what he tells himself. He's like, I'm nobody's mentor. I'm not going to connect to these people and go through this pain again. And then of course he does, because that's what you do if you're a person.
Yeah, they fixed each other.
Yeah.
In the end.
And I cried so much. It was really sad.
No, I did too. It's like, that's what, like, this episode is so schizophrenic, not that literally, but just like, not schizophrenic, but just split. Because for as bad as the Terima storyline was, the Sam one was good.
I will say, my favorite scene in the B plot is when Occam starts doing the play and like gets all of the others to start doing the play. That also made me cry. That was really good. I feel like if we had more of that, like more of the cadets like worrying about Sam and like unpacking their trauma while worrying about Sam together, I think this episode would have been like perfect. Like it would have been so much better. But the Terima stuff like really dragged it down.
And maybe don't leave them in the dark about whether she's alive or not. Just, they don't have to go into like specifics, but like, hey, she's okay or something. Like,
they didn't know if she was going to be okay.
Right.
And for a while she wasn't. Like, they thought she was dead.
Reminded me of Lower Decks when they didn't know what happened to Cito, and they're all like kind of hanging out, like trying to deal with it.
Yeah. That's a great connection. You're right.
Point out a couple of people have mentioned Gotana, which we now know that's one of the coolest things, that we never got the name of the planet from blink of an eye. No. Even on Memory Alpha, its entry is Kelamane's planet, because we only know the one dude's name.
The weird planet, yes.
That was fun. Yeah. I like that. I do like that he also like referenced that episode. Although I think him like being, people were like, why isn't he more upset about that child? I'm like, that child I think grew up as far as he knows. Like that child
he already got
die
the resolution
horribly in front of him
in the episode. When the guy went back, he like looked up the kid. He was already long gone.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing you can do at that point. Plus, I don't ever think it was actually like his kid. I always assumed it was like his step.
Oh yeah, it was like a step kid
yeah.
for sure. I mean, there's
Like,
no way he
the
could have
only
produced
reason-
the child.
The only, like, it said, like, Norman said there were 2 stories and both needed more development, but I think, like, Sam's was clearly the better, more emotionally resonant one, but they didn't want another Sam episode. So they crammed in this other thing.
Well, it's like
Too bad
they
for
don't
them,
have
it was
time.
totally still a
They have
Sam
10
Yeah.
episodes. You're like, well, last time was Darum
Yeah.
and Genesis, so this time it's Sam and Tarima.
Even though they gave themselves an hour and 3 minutes, and
Yeah.
now that we're at like more than an hour of broadcast, I'm also going to transition us to out of 10s, and I'm going to start my out of 10 with my biggest problem of the episode, and it's the pacing. I watched this episode in 2 chunks. I watched to the 37-minute mark, which is right when they get to Cask, and then you see that like weird hexagonal multidimensional planet thing. And turned it off, and I'm like, the average episode of Star Trek is 42 minutes. So this was within 5 minutes of a normal length episode, and we had not come to a point yet on either plot line, which left 25 minutes that they tacked on, like an extra 20 minutes. Like, yay, I should love that you have given a story enough time to develop, but like you squandered it. They didn't use their time wisely. I do like the ending. I like the whole thing. I like that the Doctor finally became the mentor of Sam and like got over some of his own issues, and Sam gets it. And like everybody has like come to a point where now they're bonding and they're healing and things are getting better just before like everything is probably about to get 1,000 times worse, I'm assuming. We'll see what happens next week. This one's a tough one to rank for me because, yeah, the pacing's off, but overall I do like it. I like it quite a bit more than last week and some of the other episodes of the season. I don't think it's anywhere near the top of the season, but I'm at, let's call it a 7. Go ahead, Vanessa.
Okay, so, like, the Sam part was way more satisfying. There was even, a bit of a hint as to why they waited like a few weeks, or why Sam waited a few weeks to see the doctor, because Jaden also was reluctant to see the doctor. And I think Sam was mimicking Jaden's sort of like stiff upper lip attitude about going to the doctor. So that made sense. So I thought that was clever. It's very Data-esque to do something like that. Very early days Data. And watching the doctor raise Sam made me blubber like a child. It was so emotionally like I was almost like, God damn you, the TV for doing that. That being said, I think Tarima's storyline is the worst written thing I've seen in this series so far. It's so bad. It's so bad. Oh my God. Wow. They need to lance it like a boil. Just never, ever, like, this character is just so destroyed beyond recognition, because it's like this character is just like this Victorian sick emotional child. And yeah, and it's like they're like, oh, but therapy doesn't work. And it's like, well, yeah, because therapy is not supposed to work in a day or a week or a month. It takes years to build a rapport and to really like get into the the nitty gritty. So the fact that they just were like, well, just a few sessions aren't yielding anything to like throw them back at their schoolwork again. So we're going to just like have them, have an unqualified nincompoop. I'm sorry. Like, Tilly is a terrible teacher. Terrible. Like I've never, I don't know. This role could have been filled by anybody. Like Tilly, it could have been a janitor. Like it could have been, they could have dug up groundskeeper Willie or whatever the hell his name is, and had him do the same thing. It's the same damn role. Like nobody. Anyway, it's a 3 for me. It's a 3, and it's like a week 3.
Tell us how you really feel.
Tangent time. So yeah, this is again, I guess a tale of 2 episodes, really, because as it seems to be so far the consensus, the Sam and Doctor stuff was like the highlight. That's the stuff I was interested in last week when I was complaining that we got this boring slog through the academy and cucumber eyes and things like that. And then we get the bigger portion here was the Terima stuff. Something we didn't really touch on here that I liked, wish it was a little bit more, was the Reno and Tilly, their little scene of having the teachers come together, their little reunion, I guess. That was a nice touch. But aside from that, yeah, it was like, this was the Tilly episode. I guess it's probably going to be the only one we get this season. And it didn't live up to that expectation for me, coupled with the fact that I do really appreciate all of the play stuff, especially learning the additional added information on that. But I don't feel it was integrated into the story in a good enough way. I don't know if it would have felt better had they actually been maybe not putting on the play, but actually like going through some of it, like reading the lines to each other, fake act something interspersed with more than just a bunch of 3 scenes in a row of them like, oh, we got to do the play again, this sucks. Like something that evolved it a little bit more than that, and maybe put the 2 things so that we go back and forth to the cask stuff. I don't know, it just felt like, and now we're at the part where we transition to the next episode. They were almost 2 different episodes, very, very thinly tied together as far as the overall story. So had they split it, I don't know how they would have done that. But the Terima stuff, I'd probably give like a 4, 3.5 or a 4. The Sam and Doctor stuff, I'd probably give like a 9.75. So how do I come to terms with what the episode overall gets? Maybe like a 6.25.
A 6 or 7, you're saying? Got it.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
I think I liked this episode more than any of you, which is wild. I kind of didn't expect that. This is probably my favorite episode of the season overall, even though it's objectively not the best crafted episode of the season. I agree the Terima storyline really just kind of was a big wet nothing. I did like the introduction to that storyline though, like the stuff with Tilly and Sam, and like Sam and Terima like connecting over their trauma. I did like that, and I thought that was well executed. I liked Tilly picking out Sam as her favorite because Sam was so enthusiastic. I liked the reasoning behind like Sam picking our town. I liked her like enthusiasm for the play. And I thought that like that kind of did warm me to that storyline probably more than it deserved in terms of the rest of the stuff with like Tilly and the gang. Like I said, I did really love and feel quite moved by the scene where Occam starts getting them all to perform the play. I feel like Occam is criminally underutilized, honestly. He's kind of fun, and he's got way more memorable and funny lines than Terima. Why is Occam like always getting the short shrift? But yeah, so like for that storyline, I'd probably give it something sort of middling. I thought Tilly had her moments, and I actually like tough teacher Tilly. It shows a real contrast from last time we saw her trying to teach versus now, where it's clear that she's like more in her element. That storyline didn't really come together for me nearly as well as the Sam storyline, but the Sam storyline was so good that it rehabilitates the whole rest of the episode for me. I loved the stuff with the doctor. I loved that we got a follow-up to Blink of an Eye. I love that we got the follow-up to Real Life. That hit me like a gut punch. It destroyed me. I was ugly crying like repeatedly throughout this episode. I cried when I thought that Sam was going to be terminated, even though like I knew she probably wouldn't, but I still cried anyway. I cried during the childhood montage. That was adorable and so well executed and just made me feel feels. And I really just liked the analysis behind like why she needed a childhood and like needed more context for that resilience. I thought that was actually really interesting and kind of sort of showed us a little bit about how different the perspective of the Kaskians is from organic beings. And I liked the Doctor and Ake connecting over being like long-lived beings who lose a lot of people. I thought that was really good. And so for me, I feel like if an episode makes me cry this much, I can't really justify giving it anything below like an 8. I think I'll give it an 8.5. If the other storyline had been even just like more mediocre and less bad, I think I would have given the episode overall like a 10. I really loved this one.
Okay. How many people are we on here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, wow. Just a 6.5. Yeah, I guess maybe that is right with what's here.
It's my fault, isn't it?
Don't apologize.
I mean, honestly, objectively, I feel like a 6.5 is probably a good average for this episode.
I came in here thinking a 6.5, and then you guys kind of talked me up, and I was like, okay, I could give it a 7.
I'm a soft touch on the ratings. If it makes me feel feelings, I'll usually rate it pretty high. But yeah, objectively, this episode did have some problems.
Like when I started to cry, I was like, how dare you? Because the rest of this episode sucks so much. How dare you?
I only in talking a while back, I realized this is kind of like a weird thing. Is this the first time that it's not a Betazoid that's getting mind raped, but a Betazoid that almost yeah. See where I'm going with that, I think.
Oh,
Like she really like laid it on thick on Caleb there.
Yeah, that was a lot.
If it wasn't the fact that
Yeah,
he's like 3 times her size.
Uncomfortable. It was bordering, like, now that I've talked about it, like it was bordering on coercion. Not really coercive, but bordering on it for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely messed up.
Because like if Caleb says no going forward, now he has to wonder, is she gonna like act like that? You know?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I did like that in a show that for young people there was like a heavy thing about consent implied in there. So that's something. Like I take that away as more of a something than what you're supposed to take away from that scene. Which it's like Tarima really got under my skin in this one. I didn't care about her going into this episode, and this one it's like, oh god, another Tarima scene. But I have high hopes for her going forward.
It would be nice if they managed to rehabilitate this character, because I have to admit, like, I liked her less and less as the series went on. It feels like she was fine when she was introduced, and now I do find her kind of actively annoying, and that makes me feel bad because I know that the little actress is trying really hard and like she's doing her best, but like for her specifically, the writing's not there, and the writing is there for everyone else.
It has nothing whatsoever. I mean, I would argue that Durham, Caleb, and Tarima are kind of in a similar boat where they have like one note, and it's getting old. But I don't fault the actress whatsoever. The writing for this character is just hard to stomach.
Yeah. Hopefully she gets better.
Yeah. I think that would be a really pleasant surprise. I mean, just think about like Deanna Troi in the first season or so. Like we didn't get anything out of her. So I think we've already gotten maybe more out of Tarima that's interesting. So, all right. Well, we'll find out next week when I guess something's gonna happen with Caleb and his the like promo that I had seen just says like, oh, Caleb gets some news he's been waiting for. It's like, oh, so we're gonna touch on his mom, is what I'm assuming. Could be a big misdirection because the only they put out 5 promo photos and it's just Reno and Ake on the bridge in all of the photos.
Yeah.
So it doesn't tell you anything.
He could be pregnant because he did get infected with that alien in the last episode.
Oh yeah, the goo.
I hope so. I really do.
He'll give birth to a warp slug.
It would be probably more interesting than when Trip gave. Well,
exactly.
didn't give birth, but got pregnant
God, everyone's always getting pregnant with weird stuff in Star Trek. It just keeps happening.
Well, I mean, it's a fun premise. Why not? You got to go to that well of your reusable tropes, and there's one of them.
Somebody needs to get pregnant in a cave.
Ooh, and somebody needs to get pregnant by a cave.
Yes,
God.
Cave babies.
Cave
It's
babies.
a sentient cave, and it's horny.
And it knows
Is it the
things.
Cave
Oh
of
my
Wonders from
god!
Aladdin?
All right, I think that's a good note to leave you all on. I would like to thank all of my co-hosts who joined me, and some that had some technical difficulties along the way. We're pulling for you, Dell and Scott. I'd like to thank all of you who joined us. Till we see you again.